Welcome back, everyone. We're diving into a world of soaring cathedrals and some pretty intense power struggles today, ready to journey back to 12th century England.
12th century England. Cathedrals, ambition, and a touch of scandal, what's not to love.
Exactly. And the book that's going to be our guide is Ken Follett's The Pillars of the Earth. Now, you might be surprised to know this book, this massive historical epic, almost didn't see the light of day.
That's right. Follett was known for his thrillers, spy stories and the like. So his publishers weren't exactly jumping for joy when he pitched this completely different kind of story.
Imagine that pitch meeting. Okay, so forget the spies. We're building a cathedral now. It's going to be huge.
Something like that. But thankfully, he stuck to his guns, and the result is a masterpiece that's captured the imaginations of readers for decades.
And right from the first page, we're thrown into the world of Tom Builder, a man absolutely consumed by this dream of building a magnificent cathedral.
Yeah, it's not just a job for him. It's this all-consuming passion, almost like a spiritual quest.
A quest that, unfortunately, puts him at odds with his wife, Agnes. She longs for stability, a simple life for their family.
Their story really underscores the harsh realities of medieval life, especially in those early scenes in the forest, remember that? Where Agnes suffers a terrible tragedy.
Oh, absolutely. It's heart-wrenching. You see their vulnerability, the fragility of life in that era, and it's through that hardship that Tom makes this impossible decision.
The decision to leave his newborn son, Jonathan, at the priory.
It's a decision born out of desperation, a father's attempt to ensure his child's survival, but it also sets in motion this whole chain of events that will ripple throughout the story.
And it introduces us to another central figure, Prior Philip. He becomes almost a surrogate father to Jonathan, seeing in him this spark of potential.
Philip is driven by his faith, of course, but also by this ambition to see the priory thrive. He understands that a magnificent cathedral could be the key.
It's not all smooth sailing, though. He's constantly battling against Bishop Walleran, who's basically this master manipulator within the church hierarchy. And then there's William Hamley.
Ah, yes, William. Talk about a villain. Driven by greed and ruthlessness, he'll stop at nothing to get what he wants.
Their clash, Philip's ambition versus these forces of opposition, adds this layer of political intrigue that keeps you guessing who will ultimately come out on top.
It's like a medieval Game of Thrones, really. And within this power struggle, you have these intertwined love stories that are just as captivating.
Yeah, the love stories are far from simple. They're messy, they're passionate, and they really reflect the social constraints of the time.
We see it with Tom and Ellen, right? Their relationship defies societal expectations, crossing class boundaries, and showcasing the power of love to, transcend convention.
Then you have Alina, who's forced into this awful betrothal with William. Her story highlights the vulnerability of women in that era, how their fates were often decided for them.
And then, of course, there's the forbidden attraction between Aliena and Jack, Tom's stepson. It adds another layer of complexity to an already tangled web of relationships.
What's interesting is how Follett doesn't shy away from depicting the complexities of love and desire, even amidst this backdrop of religious and social upheaval.
And what strikes me is the resilience of these characters. They face betrayals, they experience loss, they encounter these seemingly insurmountable obstacles, yet they keep striving for a better future.
Absolutely. You see it most clearly in Aliena, who's forced to rebuild her life from scratch after losing everything.
She becomes this symbol of strength, of determination, a real testament to the human spirit's ability to endure and even thrive amidst adversity.
And then, just when you think things might be looking up for the people of Kingsbridge,
boom, tragedy strikes again with the burning of the town, orchestrated by William Hamley, no less.
It's a brutal turning point in the story, a stark reminder of the destructive power of unchecked ambition. And out of the ashes of that destruction, we see Jack step forward, ready to carry on his stepfather's legacy.
But Jack's journey is far from over.
Picking up where we left off, the burning of Kingsbridge really hammers home just how fragile everything is. But it also kind of shines a light on how resilient people can be.
It's true. Philip's determination to rebuild, even after such a devastating loss, it's pretty inspiring. We talked about his financial maneuvering before. What else does he do to, overcome all the obstacles in his way?
Well, he's got to play the game, right? He's up against Bishop Walleran, who's a master at church politics.
Mm-hmm.
Philip has to use everything he knows about the church, the alliances, the rivalries, to get what he needs for the cathedral.
It's almost like he's running a campaign. Needs to be persuasive, build support.
Exactly. And sometimes he has to make these really bold moves. Like when he decides to go all the way to Rome to plead his case directly to the Pope. Talk about a power move.
That whole journey to Rome, it's pretty dangerous too. Really shows how much this cathedral means to him. It's not just about the building itself, is it?
No, it's about so much more. It's about his legacy, what he wants to leave behind, maybe even, his own spiritual journey.
And all along, he's got young Jonathan by his side, kind of shaping him, preparing him to lead.
Philip sees something special in Jonathan, that's for sure. Now, speaking of the younger generation, we can't forget about the love stories that are unfolding alongside all this cathedral drama. Tom and Ellen, their relationship is just so captivating.
It really is. I mean, she represents this kind of freedom that Tom craves. It's a relationship that challenges all the societal norms.
It shows that love can bloom anywhere, even in the most unexpected places. And it reminds us that no matter how rigid society might seem, the heart wants what it wants.
And then you have Jack and Ileana, whose love story unfolds much more gradually. It's almost like it's mirroring the slow and steady progress of the cathedral itself.
Their connection is undeniable, but it's constantly being tested by circumstances, forces outside their control.
Their love becomes this source of strength for them. And you see how their individual journeys kind of mirror what's happening in Kingsbridge itself.
It's a story of resilience, of rebuilding, of hope. But even with all this love and hope, there's still darkness lurking around the corner.
Alfred.
Yes, Alfred. His jealousy, his resentment towards Jack, even towards his own mother, it's disturbing, but also, in a way, kind of relatable.
He's a reminder that everyone's fighting their own battles.
Yeah.
Even in a community that's striving for something good, there are always those inner demons to contend with.
Alfred's actions show just how destructive things like envy and insecurity can be. They can poison relationships, tear people apart.
It's like a cautionary tale within this grand story of ambition and hope.
Right. And it's one of the things that makes the Pillars of the Earth so compelling. It's not just black and white. It's about the nuances of human nature, the good, the bad, and everything in between.
It reminds us that even when things are at their darkest, the human spirit always has the capacity to find its way back to the light.
And that brings us back to the cathedral, this incredible symbol of faith, of community, of this enduring human ambition to create something truly remarkable.
The cathedral, it's almost like its own character, wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
Growing and changing right alongside the people of Kingsbridge.
It really is. It represents their hopes, their struggles, everything. And it's what brings them all together, All those different people, the stonemasons, the laborers, even the nobles, all working towards this one goal.
It makes you think about the dedication of those who built it. Can you imagine the skill it took to carve all those intricate details, knowing that most people would never even notice them?
It's a different world, isn't it? Back then, they weren't just building structures. They were creating like these testaments to their faith.
And for Kingsbridge, the cathedral represents hope, doesn't it? It's a symbol that they can overcome the hardships, that the future can be brighter.
And the way Follett uses those architectural details, those soaring arches, the stained glass windows, it all adds to that sense of reaching for something greater.
You can tell he did his research. He really captures the essence of medieval architecture. But it's not just about the building itself, is it? It's about how its construction changes people.
Right. Like Jack. He starts out as this impulsive young man, but through the process of rebuilding, he becomes a leader.
His growth really mirrors what's happening with the cathedral, doesn't it? From ruins to this magnificent symbol of hope.
And then there's his quest for justice, uncovering the truth about his father's death. It's almost like a detective story, trying to put all the pieces together.
It keeps you guessing until the very end. But it's not just about revenge, is it? It's about finding out the truth, exposing the corruption that's been festering.
It's about restoring balance, about righting the wrongs. And in a way, it shows that one person, even someone like Jack, can make a difference.
It's a powerful message, isn't it? That even when things seem impossible, there's always hope. That truth will eventually prevail.
And ultimately, that's what the Pillars of the Earth is all about. It's about the human spirit, the power of love and community, and the things we build that leave a lasting impact.
It's a story that stays with you long after you finish it. It makes you want to, revisit those soaring cathedrals, see them with new eyes.
You should. It's a book that deserves to be reread, rediscovered. There's always something new to find in its pages.
So if you haven't already, I highly recommend picking up a copy of The Pillars of the Earth. It's a journey back in time, a story of ambition, love, and the enduring power of the human spirit. And if you enjoyed this deep dive with us, be sure to subscribe to our channel for more insightful discussions on books and topics that, well, that make you think. We're always exploring new worlds, and we can't wait to share them with you.